want to explore. So take a puff or ponder away. Join the talk, it's the highlight of your day. Puff and ponder where the sparks ignite. Conversations blazing day or night. Tune in now, let the stories take flight. It's the Puff and Ponder podcast, where we get it right. From fast cars to last night's game, family laughs or today's big name. We've got the topics, we've got the vibe. Stay tuned in and enjoy the ride. So lean back, relax, take a break. Kevin and Kerr got the chat you'll appreciate. Puff and Ponder, the show that's great, where conversations ignite. Don't hesitate.
What is going on, everybody? Can you hear me?
I could hear you.
We both had mic issues and
horrible, man.
Oh my god! I was talking to you before the show started about that guy.
Yeah,
I'm not going to bring him up by name. He actually made it a point to come back on that clip I had of Abe and make it a point like, hey, Ryan at Rocky Mountain had Juan Cancel on, and it was a really good show. I'm like, okay, that's fine. You like listening to Rocky or Ryan because Ryan doesn't talk about politics. I'm sorry that we, like whatever.
Was there a purpose to making that statement?
No, that was it. Just
okay.
Like, hey, I'm listening to Ryan now. It's like, well, I'm like,
Ryan's a good guy.
Yeah, Ryan's a great guy. We love Ryan's show. Yeah, we need to do a Wednesday night show coming up so we can get Ryan on.
Yeah,
and just get caught up with him and see what he's been up to. Karen, I'm on an emotional roller coaster with Punch the Monkey, and I don't think I can take it anymore. It's do you know who Punch the Monkey is?
I don't know, but I have a feeling
don't look it up. It'll be in your algorithm. You'll laugh, you'll cry, your heart will bleed for this little monkey in Japan that's being picked on by you. I know. Now it's just
but we've established though that monkeys are evil little freaking critters that are not critters. You give them the opportunity, they will jack you up.
Yeah, it's a cute baby monkey though, so yeah.
Maybe Hitler was cute too, but still didn't make him any less dangerous when he got older.
Yeah, that's true.
What are you smoking tonight there?
I am starting off with and I dropped it, and so now it's not. I dropped it twice.
That what happened earlier when you were
earlier. So the Raíces Cubana Liga de Reyes, and now it's not. It's almost like a halfway point. Now it's not smoking that great because I keep dropping it. So
oh man, that's the worst.
But yeah, what about you? Oh, the Mr. Sinistro Jury of Six.
Yes.
What do you think about that container?
All right, let me start off by saying that the attention to detail is incredible, right? And I don't say this because you made it. This is pretty good. If it was for shit, I would tell you.
Yeah.
The lid's a little loose. That's the only complaint. The lid's a little loose.
Is it loose?
Yeah. Yeah, it's a little loose.
You know it snaps into place, right?
The lid's no longer loose, Kevin. I didn't want to break it. I felt like I would have felt like Coco the monkey and break it.
Oh, okay. Punch the monkey. Yeah. It's a snap lock.
All right. Well, probably Coco the monkey smarter than I am.
Okay.
Punch the monkey. So, I like that it has Bardo on it. Very good. Raised lettering, Mr. Sinistro, which is the cigar that this beautiful case holds. Sinistro. And this is all raised, nice and raised, as you can see.
Yeah.
It's raised. And then Jury of Six. And oddly enough, you get 12 cigars, not 6. But then you have, obviously it's the
barrel.
Well, it's not the barrel; it's the wheel,
the cylinder.
The cylinder that holds the rounds.
Yeah.
And as you can see, all the rounds here. Jennifer said the same thing I said initially, which was this would be really cool if they held individual cigars. And then I said, yeah, but then we'd only get 6 cigars. So and it would be very specific and very, very, very specific. Where at least with this, once you're done, you can house more Sinistro cigars in here.
Yeah, so there was a talk at the beginning because James is really new to 3D printing, so sometimes I got to talk him out of some things. There were talk about having.
Kevin paused. I don't know if that's me or Kevin. Anybody? Is it me or is it Kevin?
That was. Am I back?
You're back. There you are.
Okay, yeah, because I was still going on my end, but then all of a sudden it froze. So yeah, there was the initial talk was wanting the individual tubes, and then I'm like, well, 3D printing that, I mean, it really exponentially increases the cost of that, the whole thing. And I go, then what do you do with it afterwards? It only holds cigars
and only a certain size.
Yeah, so everything I designed for the cigar companies, it's like, hey, when it's done,
it's reusable.
You want this sitting on someone's desk holding other stuff, so that way you're always, because a cigar box, you're not going to keep a cigar box on your desk. You might keep this on your desk and hold pens or something else, and then you'll have it, and it's always front and center.
I think you did a great job with this. I mean, this is definitely something that is exceptional, and it holds this great cigar, the Mr. Sinistro. I love it.
Thank you very much. We took that snap lock off. We designed that. As my idea, my designer, from another project that I did for me personally, because I didn't want twisting, unscrewing.
I have the first prototype of the twisty, the screw top.
Yeah.
And then you sent me the lock, and I was like, yeah. So I'm stupid on the freaking the loose lid. That was my bad. So if you watch only the first 2 minutes of the show, it looks like you want to it's fake news to Kevin and his ability to make snap lock.
And then if you notice when the snap lock is on, the S on top lines up with the Mr. Sinistro on the side. So I made sure that each one lined up perfectly.
It does. Kevin, well, you know what? That's the one thing I love about your stuff. Is you put a lot of thought into it. It's the attention to the little things, the shit that people would think of. Someone would kick these out and be like, hey, when you click it, the S is pointing counterclockwise, it's fucking 5 o'clock. But the attention to detail, I love it. I thought it was great.
I do that at work too. If we're installing tires and they have like the raised white letter, like for truck tires, I always make sure I center the raised white letter to the valve stem. So if the valve stem is pointing up, you have letters on both sides or words on both sides. And it's just, I don't know. I'm just a little.
That's great, Kevin. Just one thing that all the people who bring vehicles to you to get their cars, and they appreciate that little detail. Do not take medicine for that, Kevin. Do not take medicine. We need that OCD alive and well.
So we're working on some other cool stuff. Some new cigar boxes that may debut. Actually, they will debut at PCA. If we as Sinistro. So something cool that he needs. Oh, I forgot to call.
Is he gonna be launching that at PCA?
He's gonna be. I think he's gonna be launching the box. I don't know if he's, but the boxes will be there. He wants them for PCA. So I forgot to call James back because we were supposed to make a decision on that box.
Is that the one I waited on? Sent you pictures.
What's that?
Is that the one I sent you a picture about? It said, "Hey, you should go." When we were talking about it, that box.
I don't know now.
How many fucking conversations do we have about fucking James and Sinistro? And you say, "Hey, he's doing X, Y, Z, and he's having me do this," and I sent you a picture. I'm like, "Here's what this would be really super cool."
Oh yeah, no. He thought I sent that to him. He thought about that. Like he had that in his and it was just getting it to hold, because it was it was a really tough design to 3D print.
Really? I didn't think so.
Yes. it wouldn't have been super hard, but creating a slide for that.
I got you.
There was a lot to the 3D printing that. So we went something just a little bit more complicated. Yeah, but easier to print. So
nice. Yeah, because I messaged him when I was up at the Cardix place, and we got the protect your nuts and all those different things. And he's like, oh my god. And then he sent me he messaged me about that, because he's like, you see what Kevin's doing? I'm like, oh yeah, I'm like, I don't know what the hell. What do you mean Kevin's doing? And he's like, well, let me send you this. I was like, oh yeah, okay, this is pretty cool. I'm probably stupid. I'm good at it.
Yep, I like the Sinistro brand. Still haven't found a Desflorado here in California. That's kind of weird, because that's where Sinistro's at. Is
Desflorado.
So yeah, that's our song.
Why don't
you? Yeah.
It's a great episode. It's a great episode.
Oh yeah, that was a great
Which a woman? No, which woman? Which a woman?
Yeah. Oh my god, that was great.
That is. But yeah, great job on this, man. That's hats off to you. This is a fantastic job. The cigars, there's 12 of them. It's a great deal. It's like $150 at Marto Cigars. Freaking worth every dollar.
Yeah, that was we really had a good time. This was our first like real big cigar project. We've done some cigar holder or cigar rest, some other stuff, but this was like our first delve into like a container that holds cigars, and so it was we're pretty
together. Who put the rounds in there?
Those are printed. Those aren't separate. So the Mr. Sinistro, you can tell that that's a button that's put in, like it's glued in afterwards. But those rounds, the S. So that's like a that S is in like a you can see if you hold it up to the light, it's like a quarter. Now that's glued in there flush afterwards. Right. But those rounds are 3D printed into the top of the container.
Oh wow! I didn't know. I didn't know. I guess the multicolor 3D printing is. You got your
I have the ability to print 8 colors at once,
really?
Which I don't like doing. Like I'm doing another project right now, and it takes a long time to do. I have to load 8 separate colors into 2 separate what's called AMSs, automated material selector. It's like it holds 4 rolls of 3D printing filament. So if I hook 2 of those together,
I guess you do. I'm a fucking idiot.
Yeah. So I only like printing in 1 or 2 colors, because when you change colors, it just takes a lot longer. But since this one, the changing of the color was on top, it didn't make much of a difference. So. Yeah.
I feel like today the spring forward just really kind of, and I don't know why. It must be a mental thing. That 1 hour of springing forward really, I feel discombobulated a little bit today.
I like it because as I this time of year, like when I walk through the garage to go back to the house to either get something to drink or go to the bathroom or something, I look because the garage is always open, and as long as it's daylight outside, that tells my brain to keep working. You just keep working. When it gets dark out, starts to get dark, my brain's like, hey, it's time to wind it down for the evening. It's almost time for bed, even though it could be like 7:30. My brain's like, hey, it's time for bed. It's getting dark. But as long as it's light out, my brain's like, keep it going, motherfucker. Yeah.
Buffalo, New York. What's up, Velvet Cigar, Alex? Yeah, that's interesting. Now, today actually at work, today I can say was one of the fastest days of work I've ever had.
Yeah.
I felt like I woke up, I sat down, turned my computer on, and it was like 15 minutes later, freaking I was done at the end of the day.
Those are great days.
It's been such a long time since I've had a day like that.
Sunday was like that for me, because I work at the shop by myself on Sundays. So when it's busy, it's like that. You open up the shop at 8 a.m. You're by yourself, so there's no talking. There's no looking at your phone. And like I said, next thing you know, it's the end of the day.
Yeah, she was busy. I kept busy, which was good. But yesterday I was in a cranky mood. I don't know why.
Yeah.
Fuck, I don't know. It was just that little bit of Saturday. It was just that the weather. I don't know what it was. It was overcast. It was a little chilly. It was a little rainy, and I just was in a freaking cranky mood for about a good half the day. Jennifer's like, why are you so anxious? I'm like, I'm not. There's a difference between having anxiety and just being freaking angry, irritated, or just grumpy. You freaking put me on an airplane, you can call me anxious all day long because you're probably right. 100% of the time. But in situations like yesterday, I was just grumpy, just in a grumpy mood.
Yeah, I was getting a little grumpy at the end of the day, Friday, and because I was hungry, because the boss man was making like burgers for lunch on our grill, and then I'm like, yeah, he asked if we wanted a burger. I'm like, yeah, we can do burgers, and then it's like 1:00 in the afternoon, and he's like, start making. He's like, how many you want? And I go, I don't want any. It's fucking 1:00. I don't want lunch at 1:00. I'm gonna have dinner like at 4 or 5, and this is just gonna ruin my whole dinner. So I'm like, no, I'll pass. I'll just, eat, have another scoop of my protein mix. And so like 4:30 comes around, and they got like a big job for me that they want me to do. It's gonna take like 2 hours, and I'm like, no, I'm going home. And then the sales associate, she's like, oh, we really need you to stay and do this. I'm like, then go tell Mike to get me a pizza. I go, I'm fucking hungry. He screwed up my lunch, and she goes, I'll be right back. And I hear Mike yell from across the shop, is pepperoni okay? I go, yeah, pepperoni's fine. And then he comes up and get this. He goes, hey, do you want a pepperoni pizza, or would you rather have like an herb crusted chicken with butter noodles and fresh broccoli on the side? I go, yeah, that sounds delicious. Where are you getting that? And he goes, oh, it's my leftovers I was going to eat for lunch. And I go, fuck you.
Oh, man.
You
the first time he met you?
Yeah, you want to heat up your leftovers to give to me instead of going to get me a delicious pizza? Get the fuck out of here. And he got the fuck out of there and went and got me a pizza. And I didn't work. I didn't pull that car in. I finished up what I was working on, and I just stood there until he went and got me a pizza and he brought me a Diet Coke back. And I ate, he had a slice. He had a slice, and I was about halfway in, and I was about to eat this whole pizza. And then Eric, the other tech, was like looking at me. I'm like, hey, you want to get in on this? Like, now that I had like my full of it. And then he came over and grabbed a couple slices. So
I think that's funny, man. That's like, I would never in a million years, it'd be like, hey, Kev, you hungry? Yeah, listen, I got some leftovers here.
Yeah. So that was at the end of the week, and these last 2 weeks have really strained me. These last 2 weeks, I've been working like 6 days a week, 60 hours a week because we're shorthanded. In mechanic world, I've been turning 115 to 120 flag hours for the week. So it's essentially working 120 hours in a 60-hour week. And these last 2 weeks, I'm like, I'm old. Like I feel it, because 10 years ago, like these are like easy weeks for me. I'm like, oh, you need me to stay till close? Yeah, who cares? Like whatever. And I'll stay till close, only get a few hours of sleep, and come back and do it again tomorrow. And now when I come in the morning, it's like I'm moving a little slower, and then it takes me, like they wanted me to do something first thing this morning. A customer was there like before like we even opened up, and they needed a flat repair, and I'm like, no. I go, man, I got to stretch still, and I go, you want me out for the rest of the day? Let me do this stupid shit first thing this morning. So, we told them no, because I'm
age
old.
Is a bitch, man.
Age
is a bitch. It is. I mean, it's just freaking it. And it's the bad part is, especially when you have like a brain that is a little bit more like in the younger, like your brain's still like 25.
My brain still thinks I can sling that shit around.
Yeah. And then you're like, and then your body's like, no, it's not. And I told you several years ago, so I was probably around COVID, so about 5 years ago, I was doing, the fasting, and I was doing, I was exercising a lot back then, but I was doing all lunges. I was doing that Corey Gregory lunge instead of jogging. And when you lunge, it's ridiculously exhausting.
Yeah.
I'd rather speed walk, or even jog like a mile than freaking try and lunge a quarter of a mile.
No.
Yes,
No, sir.
100%.
Yeah, no. I said no. I don't want to lunge a quarter of a mile. Get out.
The first time I did it, I think I lunged. I think I did like maybe 20 feet, and I was like out of breath. You have to be very disciplined with it. So I was doing a lot of. I was actually doing when I was at my peak, I was doing close to a mile a day lunges, and I'm like, all right. So I start doing some sprints in the back and stretching and doing some stuff. I'm like, I still got some football moves in me. And I was like, yeah. And I took a run, freaking hamstring, and I was out for weeks. I pulled my hamstring big time, and I was like, man, when you're younger, this, that does the trick when you're younger. Now you're ready to go. Yeah. All your muscles are stretched, and your ligaments, and when you're at freaking 55, 50, you're like, okay, listen, I'm gonna take about 20 minutes to stretch, then I'm gonna do about 20 minutes to warm up, and then I'm gonna be able to walk a mile.
There's a reason why them 80-year-old guys get up at 4 a.m. People are like, oh, they just get up, because they don't need as much sleep. No, they don't. They need extra. They need an hour or two to get moving, so they don't pull a hammy making coffee. So that's why those old guys get up at 4 o'clock in the morning.
Exactly. I'll tell you, especially when I was heavier, I literally threw my back out just like bending over to pick up a freaking like a piece of garbage.
Yeah, every time I throw my back out, it's always bending. It's why I wear a back brace at work. Every time I bend over, I contract my core, because I know every time I bend, I've thrown my back out, it's just been like, oh, hey, let me grab that. And then like you do this, like you bend off to the side to pick it up. And you're like, oh, I'm done. I'll be back in 3 days. And
it's funny is all through high school and college, working out, lifting and everything. My dad, you always hear your dad saying, lift with your legs.
Yeah.
And when you're young, you're just like, what the fuck does that mean? Because you're so stupid. You're just like, I'm strong no matter what. I'm not going to, what are you talking about? I'll freaking pick up a, wash or dry or when you get old, what lift with your legs means at that point. Now, I remember it was a couple of years ago, I was doing something maybe about 10 years ago, and I was like, now I know what dad means by lift with your legs. I know exactly what it means, because now I'm not heaving the core, I'm focusing on the legs, and then I'll let the core and the back assist, where before it was just, you're young and you're strong, and it's just, just raw muscle and raw strength. But as you get older, the definition of the saying lift with your legs becomes also real, and you really become focused on it. And I know what it means now, Dad. Thanks.
So we get like some of the new kids at work, and we'll have like big truck tires, like a set of 35s. They can weigh a couple hundred pounds for a tire. And then you see them, they're trying to pick it up. They don't want to ask for help. And I go there, I said, here, let an old man show you how to pick this up. And I can pick up a 200-pound tire and make it look effortless. But you lean it on your legs, you roll it on your quads, and then you use your core, but you're really close to the car too. So you never let it get out beyond your reach. It's always, everything stays in, and then you walk it, and I'm like, this is how you pick up a 200-pound tire, make it look effortless and not hurt yourself. So
it's crazy, man. It's you learn, that's when you start learning, the importance of leverage. And all of a sudden you become a geometrical expert, just because it's like your body demands it.
Oh yeah. I'm an ergonomic expert at work when it comes to doing just about anything. Yeah. I know that the proper way to move and not blow my asshole out, my shoulder. And I always told Jessica, I want to, make an infographic for all the new kids that want to be a mechanic. And one day I'll put all my braces on, at work. I wear my knee brace, which is under my pants, and my back brace, which is out. But then sometimes, like I said, my elbow gets flared up, so I got to wear like the brace on your forearm. And then when I come home, usually at night, I put my shoulder brace on and wear that throughout the night. And have all my braces on. I'm like, oh, you want to be a mechanic? Yeah, better buy all the tools,
buy all this stuff, and get some. You're the Tin Man. You got to oil up your joints.
Oh yeah, that's it. So,
oh my god.
We were talking earlier. I know off in chat that the time change has thrown off your fasting, your eating schedule.
Yeah, a little bit today. Yesterday, I did a little. It was my day of feasting. Kind of.
Yep.
I needed to cheat a little bit, which realistically, I'm kind of proud of myself because. Cheating would have normally been like, let me sit and freaking snack. So I still had my first meal at lunch because the one thing I love and I hate about fasting is I was always a breakfast guy. I love breakfast. We asked Jennifer, I wake up in the morning, I come downstairs, the first thing I got to do is eat. Like if I was rich, I would be. I would have servants wake me with breakfast right there, ready for me. But with fasting, it's made me dislike breakfast. I can't even now when I eat it, it throws my whole fucking day off.
I tell you, I told you before that when I first started the fasting, I cut Monster Energy out, and then I really wanted to go back to it, but it destroyed my stomach. And any like those fancy drinks from Dunkin' or Starbucks, like the cold brews, like I can't eat them anymore. I'm saying with breakfast now, like it really upsets my stomach because now like I try and force myself to eat breakfast because I know I like breakfast. Like you said, it just ruins your whole day, and now I don't want it.
Even on cheat days when I'm like, okay, I'm gonna have my breakfast, I'm gonna go down to Waffle House. I'm miserable for the rest of the day. So my cheating usually comes, either at dinner or, maybe I'll eat like a little snack or something because I am trying to do this fasting, for my dad for Lent with, the Daniel diet, just all, natural grains, fruits, vegetables, nuts, and just lean meats as well. That's it. But yesterday, Jen got pizza from our favorite pizza place, and I had 2 slices, and immediately paid the price because it's pepperoni. But this thing is called the Pinky Tuscadero. It's got this pizza is made with vodka sauce, the pink sauce, and the pepperoni is so fucking good, so crispy and thin. And then I had a couple of Girl Scout cookies. That was it. That was my cheat yesterday. But today, I kind of felt like when I woke up, I got hungrier earlier, and then I'm like, I got to hold out. So I had lunch, right at noon, maybe a little bit afterwards, I think. And then after I was done with lunch, because there wasn't much to eat in there, and Jen, you can come out here and yell at me if you'd like. But I was like, where's like she's like, well, we got soups, we got this. I'm like, yeah, but I like, where's like a bag of like, grilled chicken I can just, throw in the microwave. Or she said, we got quinoa. So I was like, if I'm going to stick with this fucking diet, I got to heat up a bag of quinoa and eat a bag of tuna.
Yeah.
That does not go well together, Kevin.
No, can't imagine it does.
It doesn't. But I made it work. So I eat that for lunch. And I had some nuts. I always have, they're good for you. And then this afternoon, I start getting really kind of cranky, hungry. So I ate a couple of handfuls of nuts. Then I went and I got a bowl of blueberries. Ate some blueberries. So I'm like, okay, if I'm snacking in between, not a lot of calories. If I am going to eat calories, it's going to be good calories. This peanuts, good for you, but also, good for HDL. So this afternoon, I kind of felt like I was stumbling a little bit. Midweek is where I want to do another 24-hour fast because I got to do another one. because even after I ate the cookies, again, my cheat time, I don't even enjoy it anymore.
Yeah.
It's to satisfy a craving that I have, and then once I eat it, I'm like, man, that satisfied my craving. My body goes, yes, but the rest of me does not fucking like this anymore. This is disgusting. And I just got real freaking gross and stomach gassy and just felt like crap because I had the Samoas. I like the little coconut ones; those are fantastic. So, and then for dinner, Jen made salads, and I had a salad with some beef tenderloin on top, and for dressing, I just take olive oil. This is good for you, but I have Tabasco olive oil, so it's olive oil infused with Tabasco.
Oh, okay.
It's really good. And then I just took some vinegar, and that was it. That's what I have for dinner. So,
well, that's good.
Yeah, I normally don't snack in between meals, which is why I kind of felt like this. I got hungry earlier, and then I started snacking. So I'm like, okay, I got to make sure that I'm drinking more water, which is most important, with this fast when I get that way. And when I start getting a little bit hungry this morning, and I start doing this a lot better, because I kind of fell off the wagon a little bit with my Metamucil.
Yeah.
Because Metamucil, you don't want to take it with vitamins because it can impact your absorption of your vitamins.
Yes.
So I'll take my vitamins in the morning, and then I was drinking my Metamucil somewhere around 10 o'clock, and then I get busy and I'd forget. So I've been better over the last couple of weeks of making sure that I do my Metamucil as well.
Yeah, I messaged Jessica one day last week at work. And like I said, in the last 2 weeks, it's been so crazy, working so many hours. We're just messaging, about dinner. And I told her, I said, for the first time in a long time, it's like, I'm not just hungry. Like, I feel malnourished. Like I'm not getting the protein. I'm not getting anything of what I need. The protein, the carbs, like my body is 100% deleted. All the reserves, everything I had, like I just felt malnourished. It wasn't just an empty stomach.
Right.
It was just, everything was just depleted. And I was just, and at dinner, like I just can't consume enough calories to satiate my appetite. And so I just made sure, a few days, taking extra protein and just trying to get, now I'm just, today I'm feeling better today. Like I feel like I've topped off my reserves and like I'm good. I'm 1 pound away. I'm 170.5. I'm almost at 169. Like that's my goal to hit. That's my goal to be in the 160s. I haven't been in the 160s in 30 years, so.
Yeah, I got my goal too. Same thing. It's like I want to get into the 220s, and I don't mind playing around and fluctuating in the 220s.
Yeah.
Because over the summer, I was fluctuating in the 230s,
Yeah.
And that's when I think it was 233 is what I got down to. And I stayed there for about a month. But then my birthday came along, and it was like, okay, birthday, and then the holidays, and then it went from, being under 10 pounds from your goal weight to having 10 pounds extra. Because I think I gained about 10 or 12 pounds over the holidays.
Same here.
I was like, okay, I can't do this anymore. Because I hit 233 was that mark, and I was like, man, I'm doing well. But I was probably consistently 235, 238 was where I was pretty consistent. And then I'm getting back closer to that now. And I think by the time we go to PCA, I'll probably be closer to where I was over the summer.
Yeah, that's good. Just gotta and PCA, and even when we went last year, I mean, we didn't eat a lot of food last year. We went out for dinner every night. But we didn't eat during the day very much at all.
Oh my God, no! It was just eating what we could, and really even when we went out at night, we didn't drink that much either. It was just maybe
we never.
There was hardly anything.
Yeah, I think we had a couple of drinks with our meals, but it's not like we were walking down the strip, like going into places to have drinks.
Oh my God,
no.
No, I was actually, that was the one thing I was kind of laughing about. I was surprised at the most, where I was like, we didn't really in a situation like that where you could be out partying all night long, and you're in New Orleans and everything else, it was like Kevin and I, we go out, we do, grab something to eat, go to an event. And it was like, whoo,
Yeah.
old man's kicking in. Time to go to bed.
Yeah, because we know we got to walk another 30 miles tomorrow, around that convention center. So
yeah,
we've got we're getting pretty booked up for PCA, and I've kind of held back a little bit, booking a bunch more appointments because I'm waiting for Dunbarton. Steve, I've kind of left some spots open for him because he won't send his media list out for another week. And we definitely got to hit Steve. So, but yeah, I think we got about 25 interviews so far.
Wow.
So I mean, we only did like 35 total last year.
We picked up a lot of we did a lot of like oh, hey, do you have free moments, like drive-bys?
Yeah, and that's what we'll do again this year. Because I'm just booking one on every hour, and that's what we're booked. And then, and most of our interviews are 5 to 7 minutes. I try and keep them at 5. So that gives us another 50 minutes to get to the next interview. So if we can hit, now we just won't feel, because I knew last year we had a number that we had to hit. And we had to make that. So we were just pressed to get everything we could. Now, we can squeeze, one in between the hour or two. Then if we want to stop and chat with somebody, we can. We won't be as pressured this year to maximize every single moment.
I remember turning the camera on when we're over at
Asylum. Yeah, I already reached out to him. They aren't booking quite yet. So
that was fucking hilarious. I was like, man, that was awesome. Why didn't we film that? Oh man.
I know.
I learned now. I'm like, you know what? I gotta detach myself from the moment and just remember to turn the camera on, like I did when you and Boothie were fucking around. Like, pop that on. So, but yeah, hey, did you see that a retired Air Force general is missing, and he apparently is like the holder of like a whole bunch of UFO secrets?
Get out of here. Where'd you hear that at?
I was looking up some things, because we, what we talk about. Usually it's like, okay. And I was telling my friend that I was like, I said, we get on, we talk about cigars, we'll probably piss some people off, talk about politics. I said, and everything always ends up with UFOs.
Yeah.
So I daily check and see if there's any UFO updates. This was like a couple of hours ago. It says the former U.S. Air Force generals vanished after leaving his New Mexico home this week. And this guy apparently is causing some. So they have a silver alert. So it may be AIDS. There might be something going on.
Yeah.
They said he does have medical issues. But apparently this guy is he's very, very. They said this is a grave national security crisis because of what this guy knows, sensitive secrets about the United States government and with UFOs.
Wow.
Yeah. That's crazy. His Neil McCaslin. He's got links to secretive Air Force programs and with UFO sightings. So that's been dominating the area. But there was an article that says that Trump orders the release of UFO files.
Yeah, ordered that release. And then, like I said, his, was this his daughter or his niece? Someone said he's got
daughter-in-law.
Was it daughter-in-law that said he had a speech or something?
So, yeah.
Was it daughter-in-law? So that's planned for like June. So, we're gonna razzle dazzle. We got Iran. We got the aliens. We're
So a lot of stuff going on, man.
There's a lot of stuff going on.
So might as well rub everybody's rhubarb the wrong way. Since you did mention Iran, it's 47 years of what it's been. Kevin, I remember back when they back in the 70s when they freaking had the American hostages.
Yeah, you know, in the
And I
the
remember
shawl. Yeah.
they were freaking they did the they did the Beach Boys song Bob Aran back in the 70s, and they changed the words to Bomb Iran.
Yeah.
They just played it on the airwaves. But so what you know where Iran is, right?
Yep.
Okay, just want to make sure. What are your thoughts on the military action in the Middle East, specifically with Iran?
Oh, hold on.
I'll take your time. Put your thoughts together.
So
Sensitive subject.
a lot of people have been saying, and why does the U.S. have to be the world police? Why are we got to be the ones? And my thought on that is because everybody else won't step up. Everybody else just likes to sit by and just watch these dictators. I mean, what did Iran? What did they murder? 30,000 back in January of their own people.
Yeah. I mean, over the course of the last couple of years, they've been just imprisoning and mowing down people who protest. I mean, they think it's bad when you get pepper spray here. I mean, they just fucking murder you.
Yeah. They just murder you. So, we have the right to protest here. They do not. So yeah, it sucks that we keep having to be the world's police. But maybe if the rest of the world and the UN and everybody else would just step up and be like, hey, we're not doing this anymore. It's 2026. We live in a civilized society. People are like, they get to do, it's their country. Let them govern. Yeah, we had the Nuremberg trials as well. We didn't allow Germany to do that to their own people. So we're not. We shouldn't allow dictators to do that to their own people. People have to step up, and unfortunately, it seems like it's always us that has to go in there. Now, I do like we got the shit right this time. It's not like Iraq, in Kuwait, where that was a whole shit show of sending boots in and tanks, which is what we had back then. Technology was the tanks, but now, now Kuwait, we had the Israelis and the Mossad on our side.
Kuwait was different because they invaded Kuwait. We got them out of Kuwait. The biggest mistake was that George Bush Sr. wanted to keep going into Iraq and couldn't, so he started trying to get the Iraqi people to get going and create an uprising. And when they did, they thought America was going to come and help. Yeah. And when they realized they didn't, they freaking backed down.
That's it. And I've been listening. Because people have been comparing this to Kuwait and Iraq, and been listening to some professors, at different colleges talk and give speeches on that. And it's just like, if I've dived deep a little bit into it, and it's just like, what? Iraq had every bit of the right. Kuwait was stealing a shit ton of oil from Iraq. And we Iraqis told the U.S. government, hey, they're stealing our oil. We think we want to do something about it, but we want to let you know first. And the U.S. government says, hey, whatever happens in the Middle East, that's not our problem. So the Iraq took that as, all right, the U.S. is going to stay out of it. So that's what I've been learning about lately. And it's just like, I got to start digging deeper into that. And I'm like, is all of this true? Because, man, it was Saddam was still a psychopath.
Oh yeah, it's always an iceberg. You're only going to get 10% is above the surface, right? The other 90% is below, or 20/80, whichever you prefer. But with Iran, I think it's it could potentially have the Iraqi moment. Less Kuwait. Kuwait was just basically just got him out, or even Afghanistan. I mean, that was another clusterfuck. Just the way it was handled, unfortunately. But with Iran, I mean, it wasn't. I mean, when I say it wasn't that long ago, it was in our lifetime. Yeah, that was a vibrant, growing, beautiful, country. Yeah, they had their issues, but it was, you know, I mean, they allowed these folks come in, whatever. But at the end of the day, you know, how many generations have been removed since people remember what it was like back then? Because I think that's the tough part is, you know, what's being done is, okay, we're going to eliminate the bad guys, the really, really bad guys, actually the leaders who are telling everybody to do the bad shit. And then we're going to disable, you know, all the military things. And then we're going to let you, the people, kind of take your country back. You know, we're going to set the stage for you. Do you have the ability to do that? If you don't, what's going to happen is they're just going to replace the freaking leader with another shithead is what they're going to end up doing. And it's unfortunate that you see that, because we went into Iraq and we went into Kuwait, Afghanistan. And I don't claim to be an expert in this. And I've had plenty of friends and family who fought in those wars. And I respect everything that they've done because, you know, they fought gallantly and they fought for a good cause, you know. But I also think that there was some foolhardy assumptions on the government side that felt that we were going to be welcomed and we'd just be able to set this government and everything would be fine. And, you know, when you get entrenched in guerrilla warfare, you know, it will grind out. It will grind out. The media will take every single roadside bomb and every freaking catastrophe that happens. They will blast it on the front. You know, you could open up, you could build 50 schools and freaking talk and say that you liberated the women of Iraq and they can go to school now, and that will be buried on page 5. And a roadside bomb will be the freaking front page because that's the way the media is. It's been like that since Vietnam.
Yeah, that's what, you know, my buddy Blake, that he'd served like 8 tours in Afghanistan. For one tour, 2 tours, they had a journalist embedded with them, and they were building schools. What they were doing was building, and it was never reported on. Like, you know, it was always, you know, if they had to go out on a mission, you know, roadside bombing, this and that.
Yeah.
That's what the reporter, and they're finally like, you can leave now. You know, I'm like, you know, if this is what you're here to report, everything that we're doing, you know, and you're not going to report, you know, like the good that we're doing, you know.
No, it's a shame, but, you know, I think, you know, there's a couple of things that, you know, like you said, when you dig in deeper, it's interesting. You know, is this really the United States just going in and flexing on a country, or is this, you know, there are a lot of links to the assassination attempts to Iran.
Yeah.
There have been discussions that, you know, they were ready to attack again, and we just decided that we were going to be preemptive and not let that happen. We're not going to be reactive. We're going to be proactive, and we're going to knock them out before they had the opportunity to strike. You know, I think Israel's been chomping at the bit to go after him for the longest time.
Israel's been trying to get every president since FDR, you know, to bomb Iran. I've been listening to a few former CIA people, and they're saying it's all about China. This has nothing to do with Iran. This is all about China. We invaded Venezuela because China was buying Chinese oil, or Venezuelan oil. And then same with the Iranians. They were buying Iran's oil, and they took it off petrodollars, and they were buying it in, you know, Chinese yuan, whatever it is they have. Yeah. So now, this is all about getting the oil out or away from China and getting it back on petrodollars, U.S. dollars, propping up the U.S. dollar. So I'm like, ooh, that's a good little rabbit hole they're talking about right now, because now, you know, with Venezuela, now they say by this year, Cuba will fall. Cuba's already, you know, they say that there's talks. You know, we're talking with Marco Rubio's talking to Raul Castro's grandson, you know, and there's, you know, even with the president of Cuba is involved, like they're ready to come to the table, and the U.S. doesn't want they don't want to say, oh, we're going to change. They want a regime change. They want, hey, you're out. Yeah. You know, and then they're I guess they're talking about offering immunity to everyone. You know, the Castros, you know, I forget the president of Cuba's name right now, but like immune, like, hey, you know, everybody walk away from this and you're fine. We're not gonna extradite you. We're not gonna get these charges up on you for international war crimes. like just step down, and we're fine with that. You want a place in Miami, you got it. We'll get you a nice house in Miami. That's where you can live. So,
I mean, yeah, it is an interesting prospect. I mean, listen, everybody's saying that Trump said he doesn't believe in war as a president. I mean, his first 4 years, he pretty held true to. Now it seems like it's more surgical strikes than war. I mean, it depends on your definition of war, and how tight or loosey goosey. The problem I always have with this, and this is me, I told you before, I'm right down the middle, fair and balanced on this shit, is I like to look at compare and contrast, right? So I don't allow a bias, if you will, towards a particular political party, whether it's negative or positive. Too many people is like, Trump could cure cancer. He could cure breast cancer tomorrow, and they would complain it wasn't brain cancer. And there's a lot of folks who are like that. There's a lot of folks is like, Trump could freaking take a dump on a table, and they'd be like, "That's freaking, see, that's a perfect dump,"
Yeah.
But when you're talking about this type of military action, you have to look and say, what have other presidents done, and how was it reported? And we have a string from President Obama, President Clinton, President Bush's, both of them, all of them doing, and acting out without congressional, approval.
Yeah.
Surgical strikes, bombings, Tomahawk missiles, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Don't drone strikes in countries where they felt it was warranted. So the problem with this political landscape is, personally, is it's the social landscape more so than anything, is that, you just can't look at something and go, you know what? I hate this person so much that I can't be like, that's not a bad move. And yeah, the president who I voted for did the same thing. So you have to be kind of fair about that, across the board. If you're not, then I just have a hard time having a conversation with someone like that politically, because, I think that, there's a lot of good things that all the presidents have done, whether I voted for them or not. I think there's a lot of negative things that a lot of presidents done that I did vote for. I still believe that if you vote for someone, you should be their biggest critic.
Yes.
Sometimes you're forced with voting for the lesser of two evils. And sometimes you vote for hope and change, and you actually believe in it. And then when you dig deep, you kind of like, no, it really didn't, pan out that way,
Yeah.
Or you support shit like President Bush Day after 9/11. Everybody's freaking was gung-ho on what was going on. So there's a lot of people who got a lot of support for Iraq war, a lot of support for the Afghanistan war, then Iraq war. And at the end of the day, maybe some different decisions could have been made. But, trying to pretend and rewrite history and act like other presidents didn't make these decisions and acted the same way is just foolhardy. I think I sent you the clip about I think when Biden or President Obama was in office, where there was a news article about ICE agents looking to in a town to round up a bunch of illegal immigrants, or illegal people, or whatever is the proper terminology now. And the article starts off with like, it's a crisp autumn morning.
Yeah.
And you hear the birds chirping. Right now the ICE agents are preparing, to round up 25 individuals.
It was on the news. Yeah.
Then you're sitting there thinking, is this some sort of like a freaking Hallmark, story? So I think there's just so much bias in this environment where you can't have an open, honest dialogue with someone about something and have a disagreement and then walk away from it, especially when there's facts out there. I mean, this isn't the 1970s, 80s where it's like,
yes,
I think I have a picture of that somewhere. I think about my friend took pictures that night. We may be able to find one. No, it's on video. It's recorded. You can't deny the lies,
Yeah.
And now with AI, it's even getting worse when you have these different freaking derangement syndromes and the stuff you see. So at the end of the day, I think that you need to compare, even if you didn't vote for them, you don't like them, whatever. Start comparing things equally, and you'll find that you want to make sure that if you made a decision and you're not 100% confident or sure about it, just don't stick blindly with somebody or something.
Yeah, or something. It's good to have an ideology about something, but you can't be married to it to where nobody can convince you otherwise. It's just people know my political belief. We'll have political conversations, and if someone says something that I don't like, I'm like, no, you're wrong. Let me tell you how it really is, or you'll just start making excuses when you really don't know anything about the topic. And that's a big one. It's like, well, it's like, it's like, oh, I mean, I didn't know that. Let me look into it. And then sometimes it's, then the other person's like, no, you don't have to look into it. I'm telling you, this is what it is. And I'm like, well, I appreciate that. I appreciate you being the authority on this, but obviously from listening to you talk, you do have your own, bias, and I'm going to look into it, and I'm not going to like it. I'm probably going to go into it looking, if it's something I really don't believe in, I'm probably going to look at it with my own bias, trying to debunk it. I try not to, but
that's human nature though, Kevin.
Yeah.
That's human nature. If you believe in something, you're going to go into something if you want to learn about it, and there's going to be some skepticism. There just is. Because of what your core belief is, whether it's religion, politics, lifestyle, whatever the case may be. If you go into something and you want to learn more about it, you are going to go in as a little bit skeptical. You cannot deny that. I think the part is that you have to get out of your own way and remove your ego from the situation. And a lot of times I'll go into something and I'll have a little bit of a, my little bias to it. And then I got to sit back and I got to kind of reflect on and go, okay, am I being honest with myself? What I just learned, does it make sense? Am I being honest with myself? Is this something that would be a compelling argument? Is it objectively true? Are there some subjective, parts of this argument that I can understand why this person's passionate about it, because they find it, it's rooted in them, not only objectively what they're taught, but subjectively they're passionate about it. And if you're able to do that, you could walk away and be like, you know what, that makes sense, but I still disagree with it. It doesn't mean that, something doesn't have to not make sense for you to disagree with it.
Yeah. Someone had brought up, it was like, did you see, Pete Hegseth getting interviewed or by Pocahontas, what's her name, Elizabeth Warren. I forgot her name. Yeah. It's it was point. Kate like he wouldn't answer a single one of her questions, and it's like, did you hear her questions? It's just. And it's the same thing, these congressional hearings, people are always reposting those, the sound bites from them. And just like, I'm like, if you're getting your news from congressional hearings, and they do it on both sides, because all they want is their sound bite. All they want is their clip. All they want is their clip. Whether it's Kash Patel, Kristi Noem, Pete Hegseth, all of these people, all they want is they're going in with their staffers and be like, hey, you gotta ask them this and this. We gotta get this sound bite, so you can use that on your reelection campaign. That I grilled Kash Patel, I grilled Pete Hegseth, about this, and he refused to answer my question. It's just you got your sound bite.
Well, when you look at the way those things are set up, it's like they refuse to answer my questions. So like, Kevin, imagine this. Hey, Kevin, how you doing today? I'm glad you could join us. Can you tell me why you suck?
Yeah. Wait.
No. This is my time, Kevin. This is my time.
Yeah. Ask you a question,
ask a question, and when you go to answer, it's like, no, this is my time. Now, I asked you how you suck, and you know what? We all know how you suck. You suck really bad, and we know you have a history of sucking. And then I'm going to spit out, lie A to tell you how much you suck. But then I have a question for you, Kevin. Why does Jessica suck so bad then too?
Yeah. Hey, Kerr, in an interview 20 years ago, you said IPAs were the worst thing ever. But lately, like 6 weeks ago, well, I'll play you the tape if you want to hear it, Kerr. You said you like IPAs. So which is it, Kerr? Are you flip flopper? Are you just telling people what they want to hear? You're like, that's my that's 20 years ago. My opinion has changed. So no, we have it on tape. We have it on tape. You now like IPAs. Is that because?
Yeah. Would you like me to explain to you why I changed my mind? No. So yeah. Both sides do it. They sit there.
No, 100%. But they both do it.
Oh, it's actually so absurd that when you see those hearings, it's almost like when you watch it, you're like, this is really our government. Like, I'm paying how much money for this ridiculous goat rodeo when nothing 0.0 has been accomplished except for that person got their soundbite that they can use for their commercial to get reelected to make more money that I'm paying to do a very shitty job. Because the one thing this government was set up as, and you could see how many years after the inception of the United States, which we're coming up on our 250th birthday, how many years out where anybody in politics lost money, lost their ass. The first 10 presidents is like, yeah, he came in, he was a farmer. He left, he was poor as shit. He died down by the road of tuberculosis at 48.
I forget which president is that it was, and it was like more than, I think, a dozen deep, maybe more than that. We're like, hey, we should probably set them up with like a retirement account because like they're dying, and like they leave and they're broke. Like they don't have any money. They were the president of the United States.
Because they financed everything. It's like, hey, listen, President, George Washington, you're rich. Okay, great. Hey, we're gonna have this really big ball to commemorate your inauguration. Okay, great. Yeah, we need some money. Yeah. And it was like that for the longest time. And at some point, politics, when you go in to serve, actually passionate, and there's a lot of people still do it. They're passionate about serving their public, their people. They want to make a difference. It turns into a career. And that career depends on how long you're there. You get set up with freaking retirement, fucking full bennies for the rest of your life.
And as long as you don't get ousted in a scandal, like you just go out, go out like, great, hey, I'm not running for reelection. That's it. You get it for life. You get medical for life, and you get your retirement for life. So that's your goal, is just to go out and get that. And I find it funny that Dan Crenshaw, he got booted. He lost his reelection bid. And I liked Dan Crenshaw to begin with. And he was a war veteran, lost his eye, and I think Afghanistan. And he was all about that. And I was super stoked that he got in. And then people started digging, lately Shahan Ryan and him have had a huge beef, and it's just like, you came out on a military disability pension and now you're worth, $20 million, $30 million. Like how did that happen? And Dan Crenshaw threatened to sue, send cease and desist. You need to take that episode down. And Shahan Ryan's like, as an American, I'm not allowed to question that. I'm not allowed to ask out loud how you went from, having your military disability pension to being worth X amount of millions of dollars. I'm not allowed to ask that question. Is that? And then, Dan Crenshaw is basically saying, yeah, you're not allowed to ask that question.
Yeah.
Shahan
Ryan, I'm back and forth with. He could be a dick.
He is. Plus he's dumb. He's not very bright.
His interviews, I can't even watch them anymore because they annoy me, because he just like interrupts someone who's highly intelligent, who's telling a great story, to talk about himself.
Yeah.
And then it goes down a stupid rabbit hole. He's like watching what's his face from Smashing Pumpkins.
Lead
singer.
Not Pete, or is it Pete? No.
Fuck. Now I'm getting old, right? I can't remember.
Yeah.
Fucking thing. But that guy, super smart, I mean, ridiculously talented. But when you watch his podcast, Billy Corgan. Thank you, Jennifer.
Yeah, that's what it was.
Brian
Woodward, yeah.
He talks about himself. He literally, everybody's ripped him off. He's like, this song that I wrote, and then you see this guitar solo. Yeah, Metallica ripped. I'm like, shut up, Billy. Like, listen, you're talented, crazy talented, and the shit that you did with Smashing Pumpkin is 100% freaking on spot. You were ahead of your time. It was true talent. What you did with freaking Kurt Cobain's wife and made her and her band whole. He wrote the freaking their first album. Crazy talented. But you're a dick. I mean, you're an arrogant freaking asshole.
The difference between, for me, the difference between the Sean Ryan show and Joe Rogan. So Sean Ryan show, it's an interview. You're there. He's asking questions. You're, giving answers. And luckily, if he gets like a really, really good guest on, Sean rarely ever gets to speak. But it's an interview show. Question, answer. I like Rogan because I almost feel like sometimes I almost feel guilty that I'm eavesdropping on a conversation that's not meant to be for other people to listen. It's just two people just having a conversation, talking back and forth. And it's like, sometimes I feel like I'm eavesdropping. You're like, ooh, hey, does he know we're here listening to this? And that's all it is. And Joe Rogan is like, and he's like, he's like, oh, I didn't know that, and it's or he'll say something and someone will like challenge him on that. And he's like, no, this is what it really is. And he'll have his producer, like, hey, pull that up. And then he'll pull it up and it'll say like Joe's wrong. Goes, I didn't know that. I misunderstood or I got it wrong. And he's like, and that's what he does, and he said he says some wacky stuff too. And it's just like, sometimes like, ooh, that's wrong, Joe, but like I said, it's not an interview. It's just two friends talking is all it is. And I love it.
His show, what really impresses me most about his show is, like you said, it's very genuine. Like you said, there's a genuine interaction, regardless if it's Theo Vaughn or Elon Musk, right?
Yeah.
Like, it's genuine. But Joe's smarter than a lot of people want to give him credit for.
Yeah.
And he's not only he's knowledgeable. He's knowledgeable is the other thing. And before he has his guests on, I think he already has a pretty solid base of knowledge, but he really does read up and he prepares for the person who's going to be on in the topic they're talking about.
Yeah.
And it's very rare that you see him slip into like Sean Ryan. We'll sit there and want to talk about Sean Ryan, what Sean Ryan does. He'll draw some parallels to some things, but his conversations are very, very engaging and they're very genuine. And like you said, I've seen him say stupid stuff. I've seen him admit he's wrong, but generally it's, especially when you make him laugh, that's a great part too.
Oh yes,
because when he forgets it, but I mean, when I kind of first saw his podcast, I'm like, dude, Joe Rogan, UFC Fear Factor, Joe Rogan, that fucking Chachi, and when you watch it, you're like, God dang, that dude's pretty fucking bright, man. He's very knowledgeable, and his conversations, even with like guys like Elon Musk that are freaking smarter than 90% of the world, he can have a conversation with someone like that, and it's pretty impressive because that's tough to do.
Yeah. Oh, it is. It is, and it's great. It's why I love listening to him talk. I can watch. I don't watch everything he does because I don't have time for these 3 hour. No, because it takes me 3 or 4 days sometimes to watch.
Yeah,
these interviews. So I got to pick and choose which podcast. Lately I've been watching more of a Diary of a CEO. I really love that guy. I forget the guy out of New Jersey that has a podcast. Great guy.
Right.
A guy here in Florida. So there's a few. if the only reason I watch Sean Ryan is if it's someone that I'm really interested in, like the guest. Like
AJ was really good on there. AJ from Live Files.
Yep.
That was a great interview.
I just started AJ's new podcast today, so
I started watching those. I'll tell you, man, that's another one. I love his stuff. I still think there's a possibility he may be a government plant, especially during his Live Files, with just trying to disprove everything, because a lot of stuff he disproved is kind of recycling back now, as like the one in Brazil. Was it Brazil or
Varginha?
Varginha. Like, he dispelled that.
Yeah.
100%.
Yeah.
But it's coming out now going, no.
Yeah. He just had that guy back on. He had him on.
Real. Yeah. It's disappointing because his podcast, like you said, it's in the basement. It's 2-3 hours, and it's really cool, interesting stuff. I just don't have the time for it.
I know. Like I said, it takes me a couple of days. It takes me 22 minutes to get to work, so I'm listening for about 18 minutes either way. And when I'm home,
he's another genuine interviewer too.
He is. He really is. He's just inquisitive. He has questions for his own. They're for his own benefit. He's asking because he really wants to know.
Yeah.
He's not trying to get those sound bites. He's not trying to to get any other way. He's just a curious guy, and he really wants to know.
Yeah, he does great. He's inquisitive. He's intelligent. He's Mensa. He's no dummy. And he brings a lot to the conversation when during his interviews. And I thought his interview with Sean Ryan was good because I think that was the first time, and you'd mentioned before, I think it was the first time I saw him where you really could see the anxiety and the uncomfortableness of him, and watch it kind of like start to slip away as he started talking about things that he's passionate about. But he's another one I really enjoy. There is still part of me that just thinks he's part of a government disinformation. But if he comes back during these podcasts and he kind of brings back folks during the show that he dispelled the stories and resurrects them, I'll have a different opinion of him then.
Yeah. Did you see the one he did with the it was the last one. They were talking about the arcs. There were 6 arcs. It was the guy that
I started it.
Did you?
I can't remember his name either because I saw the Boeing guy interview, and this one is the one I started.
Yeah, the guy with the arcs, and he's the 33rd degree like Freemason. Like he's up there. And he was talking about the tours he does in Egypt. So I guess a couple times a year he puts together a tour with people, and they go to Egypt. And the places that he gets to visit, like when you're with him, are not open to the public. You're not allowed in there ever. And Sean or AJ was asking, well, how do you get in? And he goes, well, it's because the Freemasons have been doing these ceremonies in Egypt for hundreds of years. And the Egyptian government, recognizes the relationship between, the Freemasons and in history. So if you actually become a Freemason, you can actually have your initiation ceremony in the Great Pyramid. Like they allow that. Like it's in the Great Pyramid.
Hey, Jen, tell Pop that I'm going to go join the Masons Lodge and I want to be inducted in the middle period, the pyramid.
Yeah. So, all the places you get to see, and it's just like, that's, when people, I went and looked up his tours. I couldn't get a price on the tour, and I guess you got to reach out to him. But yeah, people's like, all the places that he goes that you're not allowed. Like people are not just like Americans, like people aren't allowed in these places, and you just go on a tour, and the Egyptian government provides military, a security for his tours.
Really?
So yeah.
Wow.
So it's crazy. And I'm like, then like a lot of the stuff he says, like that they know. And I'm like, there's got to be a little bit to this, if he's taking you into parts of the Great Pyramid that you're not allowed to see, and you can have an initiation ceremony in the Great Pyramid. Like some of the stuff he's talking about may sound kooky, but it's probably legit.
I got a question for you. If we have Lars on, do you think Lars knows any information about UFOs or has seen a UFO?
Yeah,
You think so?
he's seen. Yeah, Lars has been there. Lars has either
Lars
he has
been
seen,
there.
100%. Lars has seen an intact craft. Lars has seen the bodies. 100%. I firmly believe Lars Tetens is former CIA, and that's how Lars knows everybody. You know, Lars Tetens is a he's. I said Lars Tetens is a national treasure that I don't ever want to lose. But like we've said before, I will go to the ends of the earth and back to be at Lars Tetens' funeral just to see who's there. Like, we're going to see presidents. We're going to see Bill Gates is going to be there. Elon Musk is going to be there. You're going to see the creme de la creme. You're going to see Saudi Prince, MBS.
Like Michael Jackson's here.
Yeah, MBS is going to be at his funeral, and then everyone's just going to be looking around. I'll be like, I knew it. I knew Lars was everything he said he was, and more that we'll never know. Like when Lars goes, it's going to be like when Tesla passed away. The FBI is going to go into Lars's house. It's going to take all the secret documents that he's been given by the presidents and the sheikhs and everything else, and they're going to take everything. And that's how and we'll never know like the true Lars Tetens.
Not one moment. I told you when we were up at Jersey, and Jennifer's like, "Hey, when you start dyeing your goatee," and when he starts off the conversation with, "Well, I was hanging out at this party with Dick Cheney."
Yeah.
The rest, I was just like, wow. Hold on for a second, Lars. I got to get this drink topped off. I got to light this new. Jen, you give me water. Yeah, I got to top off. How about when Lars tells about Dick Cheney's story? I got to get my drink. I got to get my cigar. I want to get comfortable, and I want to strap in for this ride because it's gonna. And I'll tell you what, did not disappoint even a little bit.
Yeah,
even a little bit. And it's not like, the story of someone who's like searching for the next thing, like, oh yeah, by the way, oh yeah, that happened too. It was just like, when you're looking at his eyes, he's like reliving the moment. You're like, son of a bitch. Okay.
Yeah. 100%. So I love Lars. So.
We'll have to have him on to talk about. I definitely, it has to be an inquiring minds want to know. We gotta see about his UFO experience. I definitely.
It's gonna be the same experience of Jackie Gleason and Richard Nixon. So that story.
Oh my God,
Richard Nixon, talks to Jackie Gleason like, "Hey, you want to see one of the ships?" And he's like, "Yeah, I do." And they took him to the base, and Nixon showed Jackie Gleason. It's gonna be the same thing with Lars. It's gonna be like, hey, like FDR or Carter. It was
Carter was a UFO.
It was Carter was having trouble growing peanuts, so I was explaining to him, how to cultivate the soil a little bit better. And then we started talking about UFOs, and Carter goes, "Hey, you want to see one of the bodies?" And Lars is like, "Yeah." So he's like, "Yeah, let's go." That's what it'll be.
The story was that fucked Jackie Gleason up. That really, it was not one of those things that he talked about. Like, hey, yeah, Nixon showed me the bodies and the UFOs. It was something he took to his grave.
Yeah, it wasn't until his wife, he made him a promise that he would never reveal it. Then I was diving deep into Nixon. I always thought Nixon was a crook, and no, Nixon was president. He was a good president. Nixon was it was the cover up of what he didn't even know about. Is what took him down. He was trying to just the whole CIA just took him down.
And Nixon was not a bad president. He gets a bad rap.
Who was a dick was Bob Woodward. and that whole thing.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that was
they glorify that whole, the freaking, the people who broke the story and all this stuff, and it's like,
yeah,
that what the old saying is, only Nixon can go to China. He was not a bad president.
yeah,
He was just not a charismatic president. He was not freaking, he the Lord knows, a little grumpy old man, but overall, really not a bad president. Just gets a bum rap.
yeah. Yeah, that's it. Yeah, I always for my whole life, I always thought that he was a crook and everything. And over the last year, really reading more about him, watching interviews, and it's like, oh, he was set up.
Mm-hmm.
That was all all a ploy. Because he started asking questions, and and wanted to and the rumor on the UFO side is he wanted to take disclosure. He wanted to actually disclose everything, and that's when the CIA is like, hey, he's got to go. When they start talking, that's it.
Well, they said the 3 presidents that wanted to disclose all got shot.
Yeah.
Robert Kennedy.
Bobby.
Robert. John F. Kennedy. I'm sorry, John F.
Yeah,
Kennedy. JFK wanted to definitely freaking spill the beans. And I've heard the stories about how Marilyn Monroe was freaking linked that to us why she died, but I don't know. That's you're stretching it there. But Reagan got shot.
Yeah,
he wanted to do it too because his whole Star Wars program.
Yeah,
everyone laughed and mocked at that. And it was like, yeah, there's a. And they said, Trump. He was another one that wanted to. He's still obviously in the process of. They say he's going to do it, but. His whole defense is his Space Force. Everyone mocked. Well, now they're using that technology, the beams up in outer space to detect missiles being launched. So, I mean, some of these things, again, there's cover-ups, there's setups, there's this, there's that. But if you dig a little bit deeper, again, you're going to be biased, but digging a little bit deeper into some of these things, you're going to realize there's a rationale, reason, and there's some truth to what's going on. It may not fit your narrative, and it may freaking butt hurt you a little bit, but I'd rather be knowledgeable and wrong than be freaking in the dark and freaking continue believing the stupid shit I believe in and be wrong.
Yeah, it's the keep calm and carry on. Society's like, oh, don't look up. Keep calm and carry on. Everything's fine. Everything's fine. Don't read the paper. Don't watch the news. Don't look up. Just everything's good. Just the world is good. And that was from during was it World War II. Keep calm and carry on. Like everything is good.
Yeah, actually, you mentioned Nuremberg. We just watched that movie the other night.
Did you? I never saw it. How was it?
It was good. It was. Yeah. I mean, it's a movie about the Nuremberg trial, and literally, Jen thought it was a little slow, a little boring. I liked it because that kind of stuff really does, it. Yeah. I'm a big fan of that whole World War II and learning more about the history of it, especially if they do a movie that is based off of an individual's different individuals' accounts. But it starts off with Goering surrendering, and it's true. He pulls up and to this battalion, and they all their guns raised, and they said it's Goering. He's speaking in German. They said, what did he say? He said it's Hermann Goering. They go, the Hermann Goering? Yeah. What else did he say? He said that he's coming in and get his luggage out of the truck.
Yeah.
Russell Crowe did a really good job too.
Yeah.
But yeah, really interesting story about his relationship with the psychiatrist that went in and would talk to all these German high commanders and high leaders during this time, and how they found the weakness and a way to actually, because it was a world stage. I mean, it was never done before.
Yeah.
You
Oh, yeah.
know,
No, that was the first time. Yeah.
they were like, so you mean to tell me we're gonna get a freaking we're gonna get this big tribunal, we're gonna get this big freaking legal freaking case, and we're gonna get a freaking judge from France, a judge from Russia, a judge from here, a judge from there, and you're gonna present the case, and you're like, you're gonna put Herman Goering on the witness stand, and he's like, dude, you're not gonna beat him. Like, he's a narcissist. He is a freaking self-indulging, but he is charismatic and he is fucking smart as hell. But they understood what his weakness was when you have a psychiatrist in there, better understanding who he is. But really, really good movie. Well done.
Yeah, I watch a lot of small videos on YouTube on specific SS officers and how relentless the Israeli Mossad was. I mean, just going after every single person, no matter where they were in the world. Like, they were not letting this person. They were hunted. They wanted them to live in fear for their entire lives, knowing that the Mossad was coming at any moment, and these people and the Mossad was relentless, picking these people up one by one, and just didn't matter. They didn't care about the country they were in.
No,
scoop them up in a bag, put them on a plane, put them in a, I forget the one guy that they knocked out, put them in luggage, put them on a plane, and brought them back out from Argentina. Like, they didn't care.
We just watched a movie about that a little while ago. I can't remember. They went in and they snatched someone up it was in Argentina.
Yeah.
For the life of me, I cannot remember the name of the movie.
It's probably, I forget who the one of the main people that they got, and it's just
but yeah, they scooped, like you said, they watched him. He'd leave the house and he'd take the bus.
Yes, that same guy. I was just watching. I forget who was talking. Whatever podcast I was watching had a little thing on. Yeah, used to take the bus back and forth and
to work. Yeah, he had a son. He used to watch. Like,
it was the son's girlfriend who kept writing the Israeli government, and or her parents, like, hey, we think this guy is this person, and they would send agents, and no, we don't think it's him, and they finally got him to believe in him, and then then they really started watching him and the whole bus thing, and
I wish I could remember what that movie was. It was a really good movie though. So, well, I mean, it was well done, because I remember the one Mossad, he was getting a little too close to him when they were chatting. Again, to your point, it just shows how relentless they were. And we've talked a lot about the migration of Germans to South America. That was one of the things Michael Shannon played in this movie, and I love Michael Shannon. He's one of my favorite actors. He's just brilliant. He played the lead prosecutor. He played Justice. Who the hell did he play? Something Justice Roberts, someone or other. But he played the lead prosecutor. And as they were going around, he talked to the Pope, and the Pope was kind of like, "Well, he goes, listen, what side of the fence do you want to be on when this stuff's exposed? Because you all." I used to tell my dad this all the time. Growing up Catholic, I'm like, what the Catholics Church did with, it was kind of like they lesser of two evils. Do you pick the Germans or the Russians? And the Russians were these godless freaking communists.
Yeah.
So they had a lot to do with smuggling Germans out of Europe. A freaking lot. They freaking dressed them like priests and freaking smuggled them out.
Yeah, they got them through the Red Cross. And, once you had that paper from the Vatican and the Red Cross, you were, they didn't look at you twice. Oh, you got the pass. Yeah, you're good to go.
Them in Spain in World War II. Spain was one of those. We're neutral, but they were Germany leaning. They were very German friendly. But because a lot of escape routes, a lot of people, migrated out through Spain as well. It's
Do, do,
crazy.
do you think Hitler got out or he died in the bunker with Eva Braun?
I don't know, man. I've watched a lot of this. Was Sean Ryan one of them that was part of that group? I watched. It was like a 7-part series of them really digging deep, and it's. I gotta tell you, I'm not certain one way or the other because there is a lot of proof and evidence and the routes that he would have taken and how they were smuggling people out, and even when they showed the way that Berlin was designed, it was designed where the main street was a runway to freaking for a quick getaway. So I think it's very possible he got out.
Yeah, it was when they found the sunken Nazi sub, in shallow water.
Yeah.
Off of it could have been Argentina, somewhere in South America, and it's just like who had the ability to get on a sub, and take it across, the Atlantic all the way to South America. And there's really only one person that was commandeering a sub, and then have it scuttled, off the coast. So I don't know. I'm leaning more like 51%, that he made it out and he lived to be, an old man and died free, so, in Argentina.
I wish I knew what series that was because they went. I mean, they were digging. They really did a great job of because they had everybody from different backgrounds looking for this, and they even went to Argentina. And when they started like looking through the jungles in Argentina, they were finding like old structures that were freaking
So we watched that. Well, it was called Finding Hitler, wasn't it?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, with the I forget the name of the guy that was a Navy SEAL or
that's what I'm talking about.
Or he was one of the I think he was a Navy SEAL, and then he was and then they were talking to other people, and I think it was called Finding Hitler, and it was like I remember Jessica and I watched like the 7 or 8 part series of that one, and then that's what got me to digging even more deeper into that, and then watching more podcasts about it, and on both sides. And now, we're not even 100% that the DNA was,
it was that of a female. That's what everybody points out. It was a skull fragment of a female.
Yeah.
So I believe even Braun may have been freaking in that bunker, but she was flying solo, bro. It's, I don't know, man. It's if Dr. Mengele got out.
Oh,
he lived. He lived in what 1979, 1980, 80.
Yeah.
So, it's possible. I mean, especially for someone of his stature, that would have been the first person that they got out.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, that was Hunting Hitler.
Hunting Hitler.
It was 3 series. It was led by CA veteran Bob Baer and investigator John Chechnet. And that was it was God Almighty. I realized it was three seasons of that series.
Oh, was it that long?
Yeah. I didn't realize it was that long, for crying out loud. But yeah, that was. I found that to be really, really interesting. A great series. I mean, it had a lot of people on there doing a great deal of research. Was it Tim Kennedy?
Tim Kennedy. That's who it was. And then Tim Kennedy, and sadly he's I haven't delved too deeply into him in the last year, but I guess there's a lot of stolen valor that came from Tim Kennedy. So there's a lot of, and he, and he was a badass, he did, he was a, a Navy SEAL. He did,
MMA.
He did fight in the MMA.
Yeah.
He did a lot of stuff, but then, like some of the stuff, he may have exaggerated on what he was involved in, which sucks because he did have a storied career. and the bulk of it was, what he claimed. But then I guess, he kind of exaggerated some of the stuff, and now there's a bunch of stolen valor charges against him. So I don't know.
Yeah, he was a Green Beret.
Green Beret, yeah.
They're pretty badass, man.
Yeah.
The Green Berets are freaking sick.
Yeah.
He said that he was awarded a Bronze Star of the Valor, but then admitted that it was just for meritorious service. So, as soon as you admit to one lie,
your whole career is in question.
However, if you admit to one lie, you have to be prepared for the fact that the odds of lies lining up behind it are pretty freaking good, are pretty high.
Yeah.
If you're gonna slightly tweak one thing, if that's the way you want to put it, which anybody who served in the military would not consider that tweaking one thing, but he said he misspoke or whatever the case may be. But Tim Kennedy, that's right. For some reason I thought Sean Ryan because they kind of look a little bit alike, but him and a bunch of that's a great series. I like that series because it just wasn't one of those hokey series that said, well, he could have done this, and this they actually traveled the route. That they knew that were already planned, and they followed a route to that freaking shoreline bunker in Spain. They followed it to a freaking monastery up north, like Norway. Just different routes they had to leave. And when you look at the number, and here's why I think maybe he got out. You shave off that silly little mustache. You put a freaking, cap on whatever. He looks like just every normal day German. But to know that so many people that were SS, some really bad characters in the Nazi party, ended up in South America. If that many people escaped, while we were still bringing over all their lead scientists and freaking and other bad people under Operation Paperclip, it's hard to believe that he didn't get out of there.
Yeah, exactly. And then the other side of me, it's like, did he take his own life? I would say, of course he did, because he knew that his trial and his death, by hanging would have been a worldwide spectacle. Just everything that, that he stood for, everything, that's what, forever, him on trial. Mm-hmm. That's how his legacy was going to go down. And he knew that. He's like, the only way is like, I'm going to tell the story of my end, and it's going to be suicide.
A lot of them did that because I mean, a lot of the high ranking officials, even Goering, he committed suicide at the end, a couple hours before he was to be hanged. Because that was, they're going to go out their way, even if it's suicide. But that's where they got him. They got him on the stand when they were talking, because he always played dumb. Yeah, I signed that document. The document said that, I support the emigration of, the Jews, out of the country. We put them in the camp to do work for us for the war cause. But the idea was to emigrate them out, get them out. We just wanted them out. And then when they started talking about, well, here was the plan, here's this, here's that, here's different concentration camps, and this was Hitler's final solution, his plan. Knowing all that now, would have you still followed him? And what happened was this gentleman from the UK, after Michael Shannon was struggling, his character, he stood up and asked that question, and freaking he said, yes, I would have, because he said, no, you're freaking Hermann Goering, you're an arrogant. He would have said no, that would have been, he said, yes, I would have. And that was the clincher, because you're basically saying, so even knowing now, if you don't know what you know now, this guy's exterminating millions of people, you'd still follow him? And he said, yep, yeah, I would. Because he was the highest ranking official of all these guys they captured. He probably had about a dozen folks. All of them, Hess. I mean, the whole 9 yards. They had a number of people that were captured that were some very bad actors in the Nazi Party. But they knew. They said, he falls, they all fall.
Yep.
It's that simple. And again, I thought Russell Crowe did a great job. And Rami Malek, the guy who played Freddie Mercury in the Queen movie, was in it.
Okay, yeah. Oh, is he? Oh, okay.
Yeah, he's a really good actor too. He's fantastic.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. And
yeah, I'll definitely have to watch it. I don't know if that's Jessica's cup of tea of movie, because everybody said it's a little slow, and that's not her favorite types of movies, ones that move like that. But I like watching. I like
a little slow. It's a little slow.
Yeah.
But the one thing that they talked about, I won't say anything. I won't spoil it for you. But it's if you get to see the movie, I think you'll enjoy it based off of kind of like, your interest in history, especially of Nazi Germany. But I had to Google it because I'm really curious, right? And talk about these people fleeing and how they get away. Now it's like, dude, it's impossible to. I mean, you're talking about. We just bombed Iran. We killed the freaking Ayatollah. The next guy says, "Hey, I'm the new Ayatollah." Blew him up. And then they said, "Hey, let's all get together, all the high-ranking officials."
Yeah, the 88. Yeah.
And have a meeting. And they all got blown up.
Yeah. It blew up that building.
I think I heard, like him or not, but this was pretty funny. I saw an interview with Trump, and he's like, "Yeah, well, you got the Ayatollah that is replacement." He goes, then they had a meeting and we blew them all up. Yes, it's possible that someone just as bad may step into his role, but they run out of people.
Yeah.
I saw that. I was like, holy shit, he's got some truth to that. But so I had to look up to see exactly how many of these war criminals, Nazis, migrated to South America. Well, it's migrated. So we'll just say Argentina was a primary destination, right?
Yeah.
But they went everywhere. Paraguay, Uruguay. Guess how many estimated Nazi war criminals fled to South America after World War II?
It's got to be 100 at least.
Higher.
Really?
You're not even scratching the surface with 100, Kevin.
Really? 500?
9 to 10,000.
Get the fuck out of here. 9 to 10,000 high-ranking SS.
It says
fled.
Not 9 to 10,000 Nazi war criminals. So you're probably talking about not only officers, you're talking about every freaking prison guard who freaking tortured. You're talking about government officials that freaking allowed this shit, that freaking just went in and took over freaking people's homes. You mean anybody part of the Nazi Party? I mean, the Nazis just were not the black suit wearing goose stepping mother. It was a political party, and there was a lot of people in place politically that were just evil human beings. 9 to 10,000 Nazi war criminals, collaborators, and fascists fled. Now, you really want to know what a fascist is? Watch some of those World War II freaking documentaries. You might get a freaking a taste of what it's really about.
Yeah. What fascism really is, what communism really is. It's it's these. And I hate to. I hate to I don't know what the term is. But when you see these kids, and it's usually pink hair, it's just the
stereotyping, Kev. You're stereotyping.
Stereotyping. That's the word I was looking for. And it's just like when they get on camera before they even speak, exactly what they're going to say, and it's just like, what is this idiot, got to say? And they tried, and then they, they really stump them. Well, explain to us what communism is. Explain to us what fascism is. And they always have like the same like one line, answer. It's like for the greater good. It's like for the just like. But then they can't explain anything after that. It's just.
Oh, that's how I feel. Right. That's
yeah.
But yeah, it's crazy when they say that this it's over. I guess documentary from 2020. Just by I think a lot of it's pulled from that show we watched. That over 12,000 individuals, potential Nazi ties, Argentina in 1930s. You had criminals like Adolf Eichmann.
Yeah.
Goebbels, we talked about, or not Goebbels, Mangala. But yeah, they called them rat lines. And it was Spain to Argentina, and Germany to Rome, and in South America. It's 12,000. That's, like you said, if you would have asked me before I looked that up, I probably would have said, I bet you about 1,000 freaking people escaped and made it over there, to be able to blend in and everything else. Like, no, it's ridiculous amount. So when people, when I see people who are really, 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 really start to criticize and have a negative wording about Israel, it's like, dude, you know what? Just be quiet. That is the one country that if you're going to be heavily cynical about and critical and make claims, that's the one country you probably shouldn't. They live around everybody who hates them and wants to kill them. They've been freaking almost eliminated from the face of the earth, and you're like, yeah, their guys they're a little rough, they're a little extreme. I'm like, fuck, duh.
Yeah,
that's my official intelligent response is duh. Of course, wouldn't you?
Yeah, I know Ronnie from Secreto. He's got, he's like on a Facebook ban, because some people reported some of his comments, and none of his comments have been outrageous. He's in support of what we're doing over there in Iran, because that's where his family's from, not Iran, but I mean him, Risty, and a few other people from the cigar community. That's their that's their heritage. That's their, that they remember, like Ronnie's dad, Pops, remembers the time before, the Shah, remembers the time, where, when Frank Sinatra used to party in Baghdad because like that was the place to go. Like that was the hottest place in the world to go. Hey, let's go to Baghdad. Like that, like the women are the Cuba. Hottest. Like cute. Yeah. Oh yeah. You always saw that, in Havana, like that was the place to be, so a lot of these people remember what it was like beforehand, and then when the government came over and took everything, and those are the people that get to speak on it, not us. I mean, we can have our opinions on what's going on, but we'll never truly know, it was, of having to flee your country, when you're 2 years old and take because you saw what came in and and you wanted a better life for your family, so you just gave up everything, your house, your bank account, your cars, everything, and then just come over to America and just start over, because you wanted your kids a better life. Those are the people
there. You want your wife and your daughter to actually live free. I mean, when I see in the news and I read about the tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands of people celebrating, Iranians around the world, Canada, United States, when you see LA completely freaking up, because I think LA is like the second highest Iranian population density outside of Baghdad or something, kind of like Chicago is like the only place that has more Polish people is Warsaw,
Yeah.
But to see that, and then I drive down 85 and I see about a dozen ding dongs with their anti-Iraq stuff, and I'm like, I'm gonna go with the hundreds of thousands of Iranians who are celebrating right now because, like to your point, I can have my opinion on things. Your opinion, I think, folks' opinions are more about the person who's doing it versus the act. Is
Yeah.
really what it boils down to. But when you have people that are Iranians or people that are Israelis, and when you talk about subjects that are, I'm like, you know what? Okay, I get it. And it wasn't, for a lot of these folks, I mean, in Israel, it's it's looking at your lineage and going back and saying that my grandmother, right? Because it's not that far removed.
No,
My
it's
grandmother,
just a single generation.
or even my great grandma, but mostly it's like my grandmother or my mother, my father, we were lost, my sister, my brother was lost in a concentration camp. And to understand that there are folks, just not hate groups, like you have with the Klan, and stuff like that. Not just hate, not dismissing that, it's fucking horrible, but it's just not hate groups that still um, vilify you and want you freaking wiped off the face of the earth or want you dead. You're talking countries, like whole political systems are like that. And like you said, you have a right to weigh in on that because you have your family linkage and your experience and your heritage is not that long ago. It's not
Yeah.
three
We had,
generations, 4 or 5 generations removed.
yeah, we had Amin Amami, from Amami Cigars on, he's one generation, removed. He still has literally aunts, uncles, cousins that are still there. Ronnie still has aunts, uncles, cousins that are still there, so these people, they remember the time before and they remember the time now, so it's just a generation.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. I got a buddy of mine I work with. He's a girl I worked. I got to follow up with. I got to give her a buzz. But a buddy of mine I work with, I check in from time to time. He lives in Israel. He's
yeah,
and both of his sons are in the military.
Yeah.
Because you don't get an option.
Yeah, no, yeah, guys, 2 years, I think. Yeah, so yeah.
So there's someone who definitely is, you figure it depends on where you're living. We had someone working with us where, during we were working on a project or a program, and it was like, oh, you're not going to hear from me for a couple of days. I got to go in a bomb shelter.
Yeah.
That was, a couple of years ago. So, those are the folks that I really want to get them to weigh in. And I listen to what they have to say. Even if people, who disagree, I still will listen to what they have to say, before someone who's waiting for their triple soy latte at Starbucks and wants it extra hot so they can stand out and protest. Wait on the natural folks.
Yeah, before I weigh in on your opinion on something, I'll go to your Facebook profile and I'll see your past profile pictures and see which flag is up that month. And
you get a lot of that. You get a lot of that.
You get a lot of that. Which you got this. Was your profile black at one time, and then which flag did you trade in this week to
Facebook stays on top of that too, and they make sure that all those folks who want to go with the with the protest of the moment and the support of the moment, and you see companies do that too. Bless you.
Thank you.
You see companies do that too. I mean, a lot of folks really, bless you, really do they're ingratiated and they really do a lot of work socially, and I appreciate that. And even if I disagree with it, at least you have some sort of mantra you're living by, There's a lot of companies like, oh hey, there we go. It's Gay Pride Month. We can make some money here.
Yeah.
Let's go ahead and turn our logo into a rainbow, and everyone will show how we're supportive. And there's a lot of companies that are genuinely supportive, and freaking God bless, because like I said,
Yeah.
I think that's that's something. Even a joke around here about Chick-fil-A, they're not open on Sundays. It's a Christian run company.
Yeah.
Criticize, you go in there, they're playing Christian music all the time. Criticize, say whatever you want about it. That's what they believe, and that's what they're freaking that's how they run their business. And they make great chicken, and they're quick and they're fast and they're efficient, and they really have perfected the drive-through line. But you just see a lot of fair weather supporters and fair weather friends out there, and it's an identity crisis, is all it is, Kev.
That's all it is. So all right, I think we'll leave it on this. Next week we got a lot to talk about. I'll be Jessica and I are going down to the Great Smoke, the 20th anniversary, the greatest show on earth. So it should be a fantastic time. Evan Darnell will be at the Red Meat Lovers Club dinner on Friday night. He's got some fantastic food. He'll be and he's got one big surprise, from I'm not allowed to talk about it. So people have to wait for the photos. So it's going to be a pretty cool event. So I got my costume all ready to go. Carrie, you saw my costume. So
you got to get that picture printed. I love that picture.
Yeah. That is a good one.
I want that one printed and signed.
Yeah, Abe had an elephant that was being trucked down from New Jersey for the event, but the elephant is dying, so it can't make the event.
I thought you were gonna pull like a Gutfeld joke. You watch Greg Gutfeld?
No.
He's actually pretty brilliant. I thought you were gonna say that he's got an elephant coming down from New Jersey, but they can't make it because they got a live showing of The View. I thought you were gonna make like a joke. I was expecting. You disappointed me, Kevin. I thought you were gonna come out with something funny. Or Governor Christie can't make it. Something funny.
Yeah.
Like that.
Oh yeah. Nope. Elephant's dying. So can't make it down. So sorry. I disappointed you with my lack of joke there. A dying elephant. So
sorry, that's not funny to laugh at.
Yeah,
poor elephant.
So, but yeah, so we'll be talking about that. You and I have a fantastic trip to Louisville, Kentucky. Coming up. We can't talk about why I'm going there or why we're going there, but because it's kind of a secret, But you and I'll be.
Don't worry.
Yeah, you'll Karen and I'll be in Louisville. Gotta say it right. Louisville for a weekend, having some adventures. So we can talk.
Follow us on Facebook and Rumble and YouTube. We will definitely be posting some the fun adventures of Kevin Kerr.
That's it. And then Jessica kind of got mad at me the other night because I just assumed that she was not going to go with us, but I also did not realize that I should have asked if she wanted to go. So I did not ask. You're just so excited. Kept talking about you and Kerr having the boys trip. Didn't even ask me if I wanted to go. And I'm like, I didn't think you wanted to go. I don't want to go, but you could have asked.
Yeah, dude, that's a slippery slope. You do not want to go down, Kevin.
Yeah. So I forgot to ask. So it's just going to be a nice little boys trip.
You didn't give me the opportunity to say no, Kevin.
Yeah. So, sorry, everybody. Thanks for coming on, spending a couple hours of your Monday night with us. We definitely appreciate it.
Yeah.
And we'll see everybody back here next Monday night, 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time.
We'll see you.